Good evening and an early happy Thursday morning to you. Or I should say Friday. Or late Thursday night, take your pick. I hope that you had a great day. A little late getting this out, but I was doing a bunch of other things. Was changing up my altar. Just added this runner that I had. It's actually a piece of fabric that I'm using for another project, but it worked beautifully for this piece. Yep, pretty much it. Got everything else going above, my elemental candles. Just added that runner and this trivet, which is the Aztec calendar, their solar calendar, which they use for time, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit. And I think last night I mentioned that I was going to talk about the Aztecs and their life and their afterlife and the beliefs behind their that and how that all worked, and also too the Aztecs' 13 heavens and the 9 underworlds, just to get you an idea, just kind of like what they had in their frame of thought. Let's see. The Aztec civilization had a perspective on life and afterlife that is remarkably different from perspectives of many modern cultures. It was largely shaped by their religion, which basically permeated every aspect of their life. Sorry, my sinuses are running today. The Aztec civilization, they were highly advanced, claiming accomplishments in architecture, mathematics, medicine, language, farming, and technology. They also developed and lived by 2 calendar system, as I was just touching upon, and they both served a different purpose. The solar calendar was for time and to measure time, and they had a ritual calendar for religious festivals. Their government, political, and military and class structures were highly developed and complex, and they entertained themselves with art, poetry, games, and sports. Sports being a big thing to the Aztecs, so much so that their prize athletes then were basically like the equivalent of what we'd call some of our prize athletes, our major athletes today. But what the Aztecs are mostly notable for was their religion, and more specifically, as everybody likes to point out, it was for their mass human sacrifice. It called for sacrifices that had to be carried out for religious purposes. And granted, this is not unique to the ancient Aztecs, but what is the scale in which they would do them. Historians had estimated that the Aztecs sacrificed probably thousands of people per year. And the Aztecs warriors, and let's see. Oh, and that would be people within the empire itself, and then the warriors would go out specifically to find and capture people to come back to use for sacrifice. Since human sacrifice was a main thing for them, it dominated much of their life. Warriors and those who were sacrificed received great glory and honor for what they did. But the trade-off was that life could be tenuous, and short. Many people in the past and today believe that if people have afterlives, what a person's afterlife is like is determined by how that person lived. In contrast, the Aztecs believed the how a person died determined what that person's afterlife was going to be like. And there were different realms a person could go to in their afterlife. Warriors who died in battle or who were sacrificed either went to the paradise in the east and was joined the sun rising in the morning, or joined their war god in battle, which I would say the name, but I can't even say it correctly, so I'm not going to butcher it. So we're just going to leave it just like that. This is where my Spanish would serve me. Women who died in childbirth were considered just as courageous and honorable as warriors who died, and thereby went to the paradise in the west, enjoyed the sun's descending in the evening. People who died from lightning, drowning, certain diseases, or a particularly violent death went to Tilacom, a paradise presided over by the god Tlaloc, located within the Aztecs' 13 heavens. In contrast, those who died of most illnesses, old age, and an unremarkable death went to Mictlan, I think that's how I'm saying it correctly, and I'm not killing it. The Aztec underworld. Once in Mictlan, a person had to traverse through harsh terrain with many trials in order to descend from Mictlan's top to end up and travel down through the 9 levels. The grim path for those who died in more ordinary ways highlights how the Aztecs perceived both life and death in general. There was greater esteem for people who died a premature but honorable death than for people who lived, who were awarded, who basically lived to be to a ripe old age. Well, that definitely offers up a new perspective. So death was more honorable to die from, obviously. And let me see. Back it up. Okay. Aztecs. 13 levels of heaven. The lowest level was the place where the moon traveled and which the clouds were suspended. Second heaven was a place in the stars which were divided into 2 large groups. The 400 stars of the north and the 400 countless stars of the south. The heaven of the sun was in the third heaven or region. Tonacatluth, which I'm sure I just butchered the name, traveled over this heaven in his journey from the region of light to his home in the west. The 4th heaven was the place where Venus could be seen. The 5th heaven, the comets and the smoking stars or the fire serpents traveled there. In the 6th or in the 7th heaven, the celestial levels, only the colors green and blue could be seen. According to another version, there's the black and the blue heavens of day and night. The bold 8th heaven was apparently the place of storms, and the 3 heavens above this, there was a white, a yellow, and a red, were reserved for the dwelling places of the gods. Most importantly, the 13th levels were the last 2, which constituted Omicon, the dwelling place of the dual supreme deity, generator, and founder of the universe. Also noted from another thing that I picked up on, it's also considered the place of duality, the primordial creators. There's the Lord and the Lady of duality. There's the Lord of the dawn and sustenance woman that presides over the 13th level of heaven. And she's also been given the name of Flower Princess. I would say I can't say for the life of me their Mexican names, so or their Aztec names. So yeah, I'm not even gonna try. I will completely admit defeat in this department. That just kind of gives you a little bit of an overview of how they viewed things in their culture. What a lot of people don't understand, well, not that they don't understand, because people are thinking, oh my God, they were butchers, they killed people. It really goes back and bases into their mythology, which was so much more than what I wanted to get into in explaining this, but it's basically sets up their religious system, because in order for everything to be created in their culture, some of the gods died and sacrificed themselves. So therefore, the gods put it upon them to continue the sacrifice, because theirs simply wasn't enough. So hence that set up the groundwork for this continual sacrifice, because they felt without it that their life wouldn't be sustained by the gods, so that they had to do that to appease the gods, because that's what they had asked. So that just shows you how entrenched they were in their belief of their creation story and everything else. So hence why we have this mass sacrificing. So I hope this provided a little bit more insight. Thanks again for hanging out with me. Pardon the late post. Was trying to get things set up for full moon for myself tonight, so which I'm gonna do after this. Anyways, I hope you have a wonderful night. I hope you have a wonderful day tomorrow. Much love. Namaste. Have a good night. Bye.